All right. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you, MediaPost, John, for having us. Really excited to be able to present for you guys. I also want to thank you for your attention while you guys eat. So, yes. So why are we here? We are here to talk about media management platforms, right? Everybody wants to talk about media management platforms. I know you're so excited about it, right? So one of the things about media management is it's hard, right? It's time consuming, it is labor intensive, it's largely offline, but it's also faced with some three critical components that really sort of add up to a lot of waste within the media planning process. And it doesn't have to do with fraud or MFA sites, right? It has to do with three core things: lack of controls and process, unstructured data, and poor interoperability, right? And why is that the case, right? So if you look at other functions within businesses, they all have tailored solutions that are really fit for purpose for what they do, right? Sales, you have Salesforce, you have HubSpot, right? Finance, you got SAP, NetSuite, right? Tons of solutions out there. Product, you got Monday.com, you got Jira, Confluence, all of that stuff. HR, obviously they have a lot of very cool solutions out there too to make your lives easier. But media, they are still stuck using Excel, right? And that's been going on for years, right? So we all have some confessions to make, right? All the planning and buying teams out there, you guys, you know you're relying on Excel way too much, right? And it's spreadsheets, right? Spreadsheet hell. And if you look at this example, right, this is an example of a campaign, and the way that they're defining sort of, the version is, Q2, V2, final, we mean it this time. This is the last version of the plan, all right? So Camphouse. So obviously, we're here to solve all of that, right? So a little bit about Camphouse. Not sure why everything got screwed up on the bullets there. But we are a Swedish company. We are founded in Stockholm. Our CEO was a former marketing executive at Renault Auto, and he was using Excel and spreadsheets too much, right? And all the headaches that come along with that. His CFO would ask him financial questions that he really couldn't answer quickly. So he set out with some founders, some really smart tech folks that are in the Stockholm, Sweden right now. I'm not sure if you're familiar with what's going on in Stockholm, but it's basically the Silicon Valley of EMEA, right? So there's a lot of heavy tech coming out of it. Think about Spotify, right? Think about a lot of the cool applications that are coming out of that. So he set out to build, cloud-based platform to remove Excel, right? To bring controls to the media planning process. And today we're trusted by some of the largest agencies and brands in the world. So some of the global brands and agencies that we work with, L'Oreal is rolling us out globally right now. You think about L'Oreal, they have 100 markets, they have 6 different holdcos in all of the markets, different processes, different workflows. Think about how many Excels they're dealing with, right? Amazon is signed up. We also have a lot of agency usage as well. Obviously, the holdcos are using it largely on behalf of those large advertisers, but folks like Cross Media, they're rolling us out right now in the US, and they're also going to take us global. Jellyfish, who I believe is here, they're a very satisfied customer. They actually send us referrals all the time. So back to why these guys are using us, right? And it's about replacing spreadsheets, also other antiquated legacy tools that are out there, right? It's not just us, right? So what I call Excel is the EMS, the Excel media system, right? And it just does not work, right? And it doesn't work for a lot of reasons, right? So when we go in and we start working with clients, this is what we see, right? As far as show us your media plans today, right? They're siloed, they don't talk to each other, right? They have unstructured data, right? You have one team naming Facebook FB or Facebook all caps, or maybe you have Sally down the hall who's actually doing it very well. She's going Meta, Facebook, Instagram, Reels. She's really got it coordinated. So that's really where you want to get to. Also, no version control, right? We saw what people are doing as far as file names for their version control. And they're not interoperable, and it's 100% manual. So introducing Camphouse, the House of Campaigns. So this is your center of truth, right, where you can have controls, you can integrate into the ecosystem. You can obviously do all of your same functions that you do in Excel, from flowcharting, assigning budgets, that type of stuff, and also getting great dashboarding and reporting. And we do this so you can have a controlled process for your campaign success. And one of the things that's very unique about Camphouse versus any other media management platforms out there, it's that it's extremely configurable, right? So where you don't have to shoehorn the way you work into another media management platform that defines how programmatic is called. Do they even have influencer channels? Things like that. You can control all of that. We basically take that spreadsheet that you had and we'll actually populate it with controls, with defined metadata in the platform so you have consistency on your output reporting. So if the first thing that we do well is getting you out of spreadsheets and EMS, the second thing that we do well is organizing and structuring your data, right? So obviously you're using different spreadsheets and things like that. You're having all of those issues with naming conventions, different, we already went over the Facebook example, but by organizing it, structuring it, right, enables you to then connect it automatically and efficiently throughout the ecosystem. And then the last box, right, AI, right, it's been 9 slides and I haven't mentioned AI yet, right, which is pretty interesting. AI only works if you have really good structured data, right? So the more consistent structured data, when you start introducing LLMs on that, the outputs, the predictions are going to be that much better when you have predicted data sets within your organization. But at the heart of what Camphouse does is this, right? We have a lot of peripheral sort of solutions that solve around this, but if you leave here at one thing, this is what we do, right? The media workflow. From managing your briefs and your budgets, whether you're a brand and you want to brief your agency through the tool, you can do that. There's a lot of talk about briefs and objectives earlier. Or if you're an agency that want to manage that process, you can do this within the application. Define all of your objectives, your KPIs, right, your budgets, and then you can enable that in the planning so you're not going over budget, and you're also able to report on budget versus plan versus actual, right? So we all love our spreadsheets, and Camphouse is actually configured to, work very similar, same shortcuts and things like that. So you can do your media planning, and then also get your data ready for activation. So having true taxonomy management, naming conventions, UTM generation, right? So that you're having structured and consistent data that's also existing when you start activating in all the platforms. And we also have the way to track all of that activation to tie it back to your plans within the platform. So as things are running, we have UTC codes that track everything back to the media plans that you created in the platform. So you can see plan versus actual, on a daily basis, where you can optimize in flight while the campaign's actually running. And we have great dashboards and reports to be able to do that. So this is where we get you. This is sort of the nirvana, right? So, plan versus actual, right? Being able to see that in application, right, when you need to be able to make decisions based on that data, and we're able to stitch all that together. We do that through a lot of integrations, through probably all of the leading platforms that you'd probably be able to name for me. We also have the ability to do non-native integrations. So if you have, customer data, point of sale data, anything that you want to tie back into your budgets and planning information, you're able to do that through the application. We also have a large partner ecosystem, right? So we talked about structuring your data, right, to work with LLMs, but also for media mix modeling. The better structured data that you have that you can feed into the MMMs, the better attribution you're going to get, right? The better outcomes that you're going to get, right? So here are some examples of folks that we integrate with, but again, we have an open infrastructure that we can integrate really across the ecosystem. So I want to show you a quote from one of our satisfied customers, and this is, Camphouse is a game changer for automation. And they say that basically because they built all of the foundational layer in our platform, and then they were able to automate and build on top of it with their tech to be able to do some really cool things. But if you don't have that foundation built, you really can't do the cool things. So, if you want to automate campaign builds, if you want to automate optimization, doing all of those type of things, you need to have a good foundation. So obviously, why choose Camphouse? We are going to get your house in order, get you out of Excel, right? Have data governance and a unified workflow, okay? And what I'm going to end with here, first I want to introduce Daniel Sechuk. She's my partner. We're going to be here all week. So if you guys have any of the same challenges that we've already just discussed, would love to meet. Would also love to discuss, how you guys are overcoming them today. But I'm going to end, obviously, everything's about AI. We have AI embedded in the platform, from AI briefing, from AI outlier detection, and then what we're coming out with mid-year is AI plan creation. So I'm just going to run a little video that's going to, you guys can watch while you eat, and I want to thank you for your time. Thank you.